Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Guys, if you haven't done so already, please hit those subscribe buttons and stuff down below or wherever they are. It really helps us out when you do that. So what's been happening literally the last couple of hours? So in an article from, I'll put this in the description, guys, but it was from today anyway. I can't see the time. Basically, a few hours ago, an article has been released talking about French troops entering Ukraine, and that French diplomats have confirmed this. Now, what did we say on this channel and our other channel? Like, it seems like forever ago, but like at least a month ago, we said that, you know, this is now imminent. And why did we say it's imminent? In fact, I did a video on here, guys. I'll try and link it to the end. I'll try and link it in the end. So we said that French troops are imminent now into Ukraine, and that's just going to be the first wave, because once the French troops go in, you know, everybody else will just piggyback off that. And also now we've got that little fellowship of countries. So what did I say? I said the reasons why it's imminent, because first of all, the French president said if there's a significant breakthrough on the front line and Zelensky asks for troops, then France will send troops. So it's looking now like this is going to be announced next week when Zelensky visits Paris. That's what we know from now. Sorry, that's what we know at the moment. Why is this going to be inevitable? Well, the Russians are making breakthroughs in Ukraine at the moment. Unfortunately for everybody involved. Putin's amassed a huge military presence north of Ukraine, and they look like they're going to push down any day now. So the Ukrainian front line, as it stands, it's not looking very strong, guys, all right? And the people out there, the people on the front line, they're evacuating now because they understand what's coming. Excuse me. So I'm just going to read from the article. And read you the first few lines, and I'm going to tell you what the subtext is. So it comes up as the headline: France could announce sending military trainers to Ukraine, diplomats say. So France could soon send military trainers to Ukraine despite concerns, some allies, and criticism by Russia, and may announce this decision next week during a visit by the Ukrainian president. 3 diplomatic sources have said. France would initially send a limited number of personnel to assess the modalities of a mission before dispatching several hundred trainers, 2 of the diplomats said. So basically, guys, okay, they already know where they're going. Let's not be under any illusion, you know. It's like everybody knows that the French troops are already there. But this would make it official. This would mean they would be able to open up French logistic military supply chains that could move across borders freely. It would open up this whole logistical supply chain, and you could just bring anything in then unchecked. So what are they going to be doing then? Why are they going to be there? What's the main role of these, French troops? Well, according to this article, it said the training would centre around demining, which is fair, keeping equipment operational, and technical expertise. Guys, remember what I've said all along. I've done so many videos about the equipment that these guys are being given. You can't just give somebody a weapon and that's it. You forget about it. Everything from bayonets to F-16s. They all need servicing. They all need looking after. They all need somebody there who can do what's necessary. Obviously, the bayonet and the F-16, they need different types of servicing. But all those shades in between, the F-16, it needs man hours, it needs parts, it needs the right type of fuel, it needs the right computer upgrades. If something goes wrong with the software, they need a software engineer who knows what they're talking about. And then you've got all the varying lines in between, from small arms rifles, you need the right armourers who've got the right spare parts, because, these rifles, they've got a lot of moving parts in them. If something breaks inside, I don't know, an M4 platform, you need the spare part. If you haven't got the spare part, that weapon's useless. It's just a paperweight or a lamp or something. So you need the people there to refurbish these weapon systems. And it goes on there as well to mention to give technical expertise for warplanes provided by the West. Guys, what have I been saying so many times about these F-16s? Where are they going to be flown from? Who's going to service them? Who's going to repair them? So it's all coming out now, and we're starting to see this. We're starting to see these strands unravel, and these and the chips are starting to fall. I still don't think that the F-16s are going to be flown from, well, they may be initially flown from Ukraine, but, you know, I think as soon as they start flying one sortie from Ukraine, the Russians are just going to glide bomb these airfields and they're going to be useless. So and the Ukrainians know this. So I don't see any utility in even taking them in there in the first place. But, you know, we'll see what happens, and, you know, I guess time will tell. So we're seeing these things that I've been saying for the longest time. We're seeing them now unfold, and we're seeing these breadcrumbs. And once you put all these breadcrumbs together, you see the path. You know, and this is, you know, this is really telling now where we're going, because, you know, we could have French troops on the ground by the end of the month. No, not this month. By the end of next month. It's May this month, so, you know, and this would fit perfectly into that timeline that we said. We said July, August, maybe September for the hot war to be declared. I said my personal opinion was it will happen around about the beginning of the summer holidays, because you've got so many people away from their desks, you've got people on leave, you've got people on holiday, obviously, you've got kids off school. It's just harder to do anything under those circumstances. You know, and I know we can call people back for emergency COBRA meetings, but, you know, each person that you call back for an emergency COBRA meeting, they have staff under them who don't have to come back because they're uncontactable and they've turned their phone off. And it's, you know, it's the human factor, the human errors that go into that, and it all adds to this cauldron of despair. I like that, guys. Somebody should put that on a t-shirt, the cauldron of despair. In fact, I'm writing that down. Sorry guys, I'm doing some merch t-shirts, and that is going to make an awesome t-shirt, the Cauldron of Despair. Anyway, sorry guys, sorry. Yeah, so all this stuff now feeds into this narrative, and it's looking like we're getting these French troops, and it could be any week, any day, any week now. It's very soon, and that's why I said the beginning of the summer holidays in the UK. That's when I think the hot war will start. But, you know, we can't, I don't think we're going to get to September now without this hot war starting. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope something comes out from the sidelines and just, you know, calms it all down and stops everything. But the reality is, the way I'm looking at the ground and the way I'm looking at things, I can't see a peaceful solution at all in this, in what's going on in the East. So another quick thing then, guys, on the when I was looking at this. We've got now, it's come out as Polish troops, sending troops to Ukraine shouldn't be ruled out. This is from Poland now. So the Polish, I'll put the links to in the bio, in the description to this, guys. So now you see this little, remember how I spoke about it before, the fellowship. You've got, what is it? France, Germany, Poland, and then the Baltic states, Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia. So, you know, you've got them as this little fellowship now. And they're all, you know, individually, but part of a whole, making the same move. So now Poland's saying, you know, they should not rule out sending its own troops in. I think it's going to be, you know, it's going to be the French are going to go in first. Let the dust settle. It'll be all over the news. Everybody will be talking, blah, blah, blah. Let the dust settle, and then under the radar, Poland, they'll be sending troops in, and then somebody else will be sending troops in, and then some, you know what I mean, you'll just get this mission creep, and within a few months, every man and his dog will be there. The west of Ukraine will be absolutely militarized by NATO forces, and then what is the next move going to be? How is this going to be received by the Russians? And then what the Russian response is, how does that quantify then to the NATO response if Russia does attack those places? Well, I can't believe that this article came out here, guys, okay? Hang on, is it this one? No, it's not that one. Yeah, I think it is actually. So basically, the Baltic states now, they're talking about sending troops into Ukraine, and I think it was Estonia. And again, here, guys, you know, they've got that phrase again. If the Russians achieve a strategic breakthrough in eastern Ukraine, they will not wait for the deployment of Russian troops on their borders. They will send troops into Ukraine themselves. So the Estonian government have come out now, and they've said, if NATO troops are killed, are injured in Ukraine, it would not trigger an Article 5 incident. So why are they coming out and saying that? Why are they coming out and saying that now? Because they understand the risk that they're facing sending their soldiers into Ukraine, that they're kind of taking the protection away from them by saying, well, you know, if we do send our soldiers into Ukraine, it's okay if they, you know, it's okay if they die. It's just, it is what it is. Now, for me, I'm really conscious about how this pans out on a smaller level. If you're, for example, a soldier in Estonia, are you going to be given the choice, you know, to go and do these missions? Are you going to be given, you know, any extra support, any extra help? Because it's really telling and it's really worrying me that people are kind of taking that Article 5, you know, that Article 5 protection away from them. And for those of you who don't know, Article 5 is basically NATO members. An attack on one NATO member is an attack on all NATO members. So I think we're going to start to see some sort of an alliance. I mean, you're already seeing it now with this fellowship. We're going to start seeing some sort of European fellowship, basically, that is NATO countries, but they are acting as not part of NATO. Because remember, there'll be back deals done where America will not get involved in this war in Europe. And guys, you know what? I, for one, say that is a good thing, all right? America has been the world police, and American soldiers have been dying all over the world, you know, while European countries have not been paying 2% GDP. They've not been investing in their militaries. And, you know, I've got a lot of American friends, a lot of American, you know, ex-military friends who I spend a lot of time with. And America is one of the places that, if things don't work out in the UK, you know, we will move to America. So I totally get it, and I understand how the Americans feel about this. But again, let's not pussyfoot about this, guys, right? Let's address the elephant in the room, which is China. If America is heavily, you know, if they're heavily involved in Ukraine, in Eastern Europe, then they're not going to have any facilities then, and they're not going to have any manpower to then go and deal with a Chinese threat. And remember the, what's it called? Thucydides' trap. Thucydides' trap says that when an emerging nation threatens the current nation, there's almost always war, and it's very unlikely that there will not be a war between the US and America. That's Thucydides' trap, guys. Go check it out. There's plenty of videos on this platform. Guys, I'm going to keep it short there because I think I've covered everything. Let me just have a quick check what this one is. Yeah, Baltic officials say they could send troops to Ukraine without waiting for NATO if Russia scores a breakthrough. Yeah, so that's just more of it, guys, okay? More of what I said. You've got this little fellowship now. I think the fellowship will grow in countries who are willing to go into Ukraine, you know, without the say-so of NATO. And by NATO, we mean America, because they're like, you know, they spend miles more than anyone else on defence. You know, defence is kind of their main export. That's the reality, guys, okay? So as of today, French diplomats are saying that French troops are imminent in Ukraine. All the stuff we've been saying over the past couple of weeks is going to be happening. So what is going to happen next? Key things to look for, guys. Use of the F-16s. Where are they flown from? Are the Polish Air Force, are they going to close the skies over Ukraine, by the sense that, you know, are the Polish going to be flying protection, defensive missions over Ukraine? If so, what does that entail? Guys, you know, I feel we're slipping into this conflict, you know, day by day, little footstep and little footstep. These little breadcrumbs keep getting put out there, and all the while, the mainstream media are absolutely stum about it. They're not reporting on the main things. They're not reporting on the things that affect me and you. They're not reporting on the food shortages. They're not reporting on the rationing, guys. The rationing that we're having at the moment. They're not reporting on that. They're not reporting on the vast, you know, I mean, we've dissolved Parliament in the UK, so if this conflict does happen, who's going to be there to deal with it? Guys, we are living in absolutely wild times. As always, make sure you and your family have got some water, and I'll see you guys next time.